Okay. Okay, everyone. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me in the back? Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody to the Big Ideas contest and to the Blum Center, Blum Hall. First of all, I just want to get a show of hands. How many of you heard about this through sort of a class announcement? We're trying to gauge the effectiveness of our outreach. How many heard about it through a flyer? Okay, so, and how about social media? So a few, so mostly class announcements. That's really good to know. So I am Philip Denny. I manage the Big Ideas contest. The Big Ideas contest has been around now for 10 years. As you probably know, it provides funding, support, and recognition to students just like you who have really cool, creative, innovative ideas to improve society in some way. This year we have 9 categories, which Adrian will cover in a minute, but I just did want to introduce our Big Ideas team for starters. We have Adrian Chuck, who's my right hand on the competition, right there. We have Max Aronson in the back by the t-shirts, and we have Juno Fitzpatrick, our network coordinator, who helps us recruit all the judges and mentors that we need for the program. So without them, obviously, we could not be doing this. So thank you very much. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to give you just an overview of the rules and regulations of the Big Ideas contest, tell you what you need to know to apply to the competition, give you the dates and the deadlines that you need to know, and just walk you through the whole process. But what I want to stress upon all of you is that Big Ideas is much more than a competition that just provides funding. Yes, you can win up to $18,000 for your idea, but we want to support you throughout the entire development of your idea and then beyond that as well, once you win a Big Ideas award or once you emerge from the contest. So we have lots of different ways to get involved with Big Ideas and to get resources through advising, through mentorship, through workshops, through team building exercises we hold, just lots of ways to really take that idea that might be in your head right now, might be just getting onto paper right now, and really turning that into an actionable plan so that maybe next summer or next fall, you can go out and begin to pilot this thing. So it's a really great opportunity to take what you're learning in a classroom, take something you feel very passionate about, and combine those two pieces because that's where the best innovation comes from. It's something that you're passionate about. So hopefully you all come here with that passion, that entrepreneurial spirit, and then Adrian can tell you how you can channel that into a big idea. But before I turn it over to Adrian, I want to introduce one special guest that we have today. Deborah Natajuna, who is from Macquarie University, is a key partner for Big Ideas. So as you may know, we have 16 campuses competing in Big Ideas. The furthest one is Macquarie University in Uganda. Deborah is the engagement manager for the Resilient African Network, which is supported through USAID. It has 20 different African universities in 16 different countries across Africa. Macquarie University is the lead, and its mission is to strengthen the resilience of communities by nurturing and scaling innovations from different universities. So this is the third year that Macquarie has been a part of the contest. Deborah's gotten to see sort of the Big Ideas methodology play out from the very beginning at Macquarie to what it is today. Last year, the Macquarie students were the second highest number of applicants across any campus, any of those 16 campuses eligible to compete in Big Ideas. And that is in large part due to Deborah's understanding and nurturing of the competition at Macquarie. So I just want to turn it over to her so she can perhaps lend some perspectives she's seen on the competition, what's made her students so successful, and just talk to you a little bit about Big Ideas. So Deborah.
Thank you very much, Philip. Good evening to you. How are you? Good. I need some energy. Hello. Hi. How are you? Good. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Actually, Philip, this is the 4th year. 4th year, yeah. Yeah, so the first time we had this in 2013, 2014. So we are going in for the 4th year as Macquarie University. I'm very happy to see all of you and to see the enthusiasm that students have to contribute to international development through competitions like Big Ideas. At Resilient Africa Network, we also nurture student ideas and ideas from young entrepreneurs, from faculty, from community members themselves. And we are placed in Africa because, as you know well, Africa has the largest part of communities that are living and trapped in poverty, and we've seen communities that are in dire need. It would be nice to have ideas from young people like you whose minds are still fresh. You haven't been biased by anything. We believe that with your bold ideas, you can solve international problems and contribute to development. There are some key things that I usually give as tips to young entrepreneurs and innovators whenever I have a chance to speak to them. Number one is passion. Philip mentioned that in the beginning. Passion is something that will lead you all the way. The journey of entrepreneurship is long, and it's only if you're passionate about something that you can be able to endure all the hardships, and even when you receive criticism, you go all the way because you're passionate about what you're doing. Number two, I usually talk about the team that you're going to work with to push your idea. It's very important that you look out for the best team. Find out people who are like-minded, people who are interested in your idea. They may not be interested at the beginning, but you can influence them, and tell them that together we can make it. And I've seen funders look out for teams behind something, even before they get to know what they are working on. As long as they know that this team is capable, funders will invest in you, you receive the support you need, and all the attention that you need to help you move your idea from one level to another. And the third thing I usually talk about, I've talked about passion, about the team. Another thing is resilience, that you need to be resilient. Resilient Africa Network, we help communities to be more resilient because I mentioned that we are in Africa and we are in communities that are faced with natural shocks and stresses, manifesting as disease epidemics, as other issues arising out of climate change, out of rapid urbanization. Imagine all these issues and imagine a world without those issues. How would it be? So if we want to make communities resilient, we also want the entrepreneurs and innovators to be resilient as they push their idea. If somebody discourages you, but you have the resilience within you, you're not going to be discouraged. You're not going to be discouraged because you didn't even win the Big Ideas competition. You're entering this competition, even if you don't win, you shouldn't be stopped. Don't stop anywhere along the journey. Even if you don't win the competition, there are many other opportunities. And the fourth thing that I can talk about is finding a mentor, find someone who believes in you. I know Big Ideas usually teams you with mentors, but you can also find your own mentor in your circles, in your social circles, in your school circles, anywhere where you can find someone who believes in you. And every time you check in on them and update them and tell them that, I'm working on this, how can I get it all shaped up, how can I polish it, what opportunities are there for me. Get someone who believes in you, and I can say that the sky is the limit. It's not even the limit. There are so many opportunities. We have seen young people change the world, and I wish you the very best in this journey that you have started. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Deborah. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Adrienne Chuck, and we should all give her a very big hand. I'm battling a cold here. So Adrienne was a graduate student who started working on Big Ideas 2 years ago. She's now working with me full-time as the program manager for Big Ideas. She's an excellent advisor. She'll be modest about it, but all of our graduate students and Adrienne all can advise you on any matter you want to. So we'll be pressing that all night long, but now I'll just turn it over to Adrienne.
Thanks, Philip. So without further ado, I'd love to get started and walk you through the Big Ideas process. I just want to give a special shout out to everyone tuning in online. If you have a question, you can either email bigideas@berkeley.edu or go to the YouTube page in which we're live streaming and just ask a question. We'll be able to filter out some of those questions and respond to them in real time. And then also to everyone in the audience, right? Nobody wants to hear me talk for 30 minutes straight. So this is your opportunity to really ask questions that are on your mind, to get clarifications about some of the rules that we have in this contest, because I'm sure all the other students in this room have the same questions in their head. And everything that I'm going to talk to you today, you can get online. So what's the benefit other than getting some food and drink and meeting some fellow entrepreneurs in the room, right? I want to reiterate what Philip said about our team being extremely friendly, approachable, and fantastic in terms of advising services. I think if you talk to anyone who's been through the contest, who has accessed these advising services, we're a fantastic resource, and you should not be afraid to contact us or utilize us endlessly. And you have just over a month, 6 to 7 weeks before the deadline. So we encourage you to get a start on it, bring in your proposal, get ahead of the curve, and don't wait until finals or midterms hit for you to put together a 3-page pre-proposal.
Can anybody tell us when the deadline is? Anybody know? Raise a hand. Raise a hand. T-shirt. T-shirt.
Great, and Philip will be helping with mics tonight. If any of you have a question, just raise your hand, and then Philip will come by with a mic to make sure everyone online is also getting this too. As soon as we're done with this, we're going to open this up for advising, and I have an advising sign-up sheet in the back, so just let us know if you want to talk about your idea, see if it's a good fit for the contest. We'll do that after we're done going through this presentation. I also want to highly encourage you all to meet each other. There aren't a lot of opportunities on campus for you to meet fellow entrepreneurs, and everyone is always talking about how they want to meet innovators going through the same process. This is a fantastic opportunity. If you're not talking to one of us, you should be talking to each other. All right? Okay, let's get started. So, what is Big Ideas? Big Ideas is an annual year-long innovation contest that provides funding, support, and encouragement to interdisciplinary teams of undergraduate and graduate students who have creative solutions for some of the most pressing problems. So to give you an idea of the scope, we had 266 applications come in last year, 57 finalists, and 41 winners. So our idea is to kind of build out this pipeline of entrepreneurs, give a little bit of money to a lot of people, and start to have you develop out your project proposals and your ideas to a point where it's a viable implementable plan. And in terms of the kind of projects that come through Big Ideas, I just wanted to show you a quick video to kind of give you an idea of what different kinds of things have come through our program.
What makes an idea big?
I think what makes an idea big is that it goes outside the normal boundaries.
I think what makes an idea big is its potential for its impact in the community.
It's novel, it's unique, it's challenging, it's exciting.
The Big Ideas program seed funds and encourages student innovation for a better planet.
Undergraduate students are rarely recognized as producing innovative, cutting-edge ideas.
You know, it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of, it doesn't take a 5-year PhD research project in order to do some of these things.
I heard about the Big Ideas program, and it was brought to our attention as a group, and we thought, hey, this would be a really great opportunity to kind of get the word out about our projects and see if we can get some support.
And it ends up being much more than a grant because it gives you that confidence to go forward. The fact that there's other people in the room and other people at Cal that are reviewing this and thinking, hey, you should go for this.
Having it was like one of the best things for our project. It really got us off the ground at a point where we needed that extra inspiration.
Yeah, knowing that the campus is supporting projects like this and that you have access to these resources has been very instrumental.
Just the fact that Big Ideas existed and seemed willing to fund a project like this gave us hope because our budget for dental is actually like under $200 a semester. And we saved the residents of Berkeley like probably $50,000 to $100,000 just through the services we have.
capitalize on the creativity of the students. Don't tell them the solution, give them the opportunity and let them come up with creative ideas.
We should disabuse ourselves of the idea that all smarts are with the professors. Students are just as smart, they're just younger, that's all.
We created a business plan for Big Ideas. So it really gave us that push to really follow through on this and give up our investment banking and consulting offers that we had. And as soon as we got the news that we had gotten the grant, I think that's the first time we said, hey, let's give up what we were doing and let's follow our passion.
The power of the small grant is that it allows students to experiment earlier in their lives. They don't need to wait to complete a PhD and get a faculty appointment to try something new. I think that's very important. Otherwise, we waste a whole kind of generation just waiting for the credentials to do something that they have some capacity to do earlier.
What makes an idea big?
I think what makes an idea big is that it goes outside the normal boundaries and it really kind of surpasses what was already there and sets a precedent for something new.
So what I always love to point out about that video is you saw a number of different types of projects. You saw the Cal Sol Agua project, which their model was a nonprofit model focused in Nicaragua. You had another project, the Back to the Roots guys, which how many of you guys have seen them before on campus? They're pretty well known around campus. Anyways, the Back to the Roots guys have a business, for-profit business here in Oakland that it's employing about 80 people. And then you also saw the Suitcase Clinic in their dental clinic operation, which is a service organization here on the Berkeley campus. It's about 100 students strong, and they work year after year after year on projects and issues that face Berkeley and the homeless population here in Berkeley and Oakland. So anything from service organizations, for-profit, nonprofit, we're agnostic as to the type of sort of venture you're looking to build. We really want to support you with any type of venture you're prone to building yourself.
And as Philip mentioned, we see projects that have all different shapes and sizes come through Big Ideas. We're really geared towards developing out those early stage innovations and getting you to the point where you could go into an accelerator, an incubator, or what else. But we do see some projects that have already prototyped and piloted as well. So we see a huge range. And then the other reason that kind of sets us apart from business plan competitions is that we're not for-profit driven, right? Everything, all the projects that come through Big Ideas has the common thread that they're student-led and they have a social impact. And this is really important to remember as you develop out your proposals. All right, so I'm going to talk about what we offer to students. So funding. Every year we give away up to $300,000 in funding, and that means you can win up to $18,000 for your proposal for over the course of 1 year. So that's between $1,000 and $10,000 for your proposal, your full proposal, as well as an additional $8,000 you can win from participating from our additional prizes like the video contest, pitch day, etc. But not only that, we offer tons of skills development workshops. So we're going to host writing workshops in October for you to develop your proposal, learn how to write a compelling grant, an argument, identify an issue, and tons of opportunities in the spring too. We have things like practitioners and residents where we bring in industry or academic folks for you to touch base in, and they'll give you one-on-one feedback and one-on-one advising on your specific innovation. We also have access to expertise. All the judges that come through the program who are reading your proposals, both in the pre-proposal round and the full proposal round, have at least 5 years of experience and on average about 10. So these are really industry experts who are giving you real feedback on your innovation. And if you're chosen as a finalist in the next round, then you'll get paired with a mentor who will be able to give you expert feedback as well.
And one of the most common things we do when you would come to us for advising is we now have this network, now that we've been doing this for 10 years, over 1,000 judges and mentors who support the competition. Through that, if you come to us and you're looking for a specific expertise in a specific area or region, we can connect you probably with somebody from our network. So if it's something we don't know, we are always happy to refer you to the people who do know.
And lastly, we give you the exposure and validation. So sometimes it's about the confidence of moving forward with a certain project that you have, but we'll also push any developments any developments you have with your project through our social media, our newsletters, our blogs, whatever else, so that you're continuing to get good press on your project if you participate throughout our entire program. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the 9 categories that we have this year. Is there anyone in this room who isn't a UC Berkeley student? No. Okay, so UC Berkeley students are eligible for all 9 categories, but as Philip mentioned, we have 16 different universities participating in this contest, and eligibility changes for each one of those schools. So we highly recommend that everyone watching online go to our website, read about the categories, and see if you're an actual fit. This is a really, really important thing to remember because we've actually had teams submit a pre-proposal in a category that they weren't eligible for, and then that was something that we had to deal with on the day of the deadline. So just remember to do that. Does anyone have any questions about the categories? The question was, is mental health included in global health? And the answer is yes. But the best way that we kind of deal with the different projects and innovations that come in is you should tell us a little bit more about your idea so we can see kind of which category would best fit in.
For instance, last year we had a mental health project that was focusing here on the Berkeley campus on the student population that was in the improving student life category.
Yep.
Is it possible that like a proposal would mix 2 different categories, or would it just be whichever category fits?
So the rules of the contest are you can only submit 1 proposal to 1 category. You can't submit your same proposal to 2 categories. So even though it could fit in multiple categories, you need to find the one. And a good way to do that is to come into and talk to us and then come into an advising session, and we'll figure out which category is best fit for your project.
In the way we sort of counsel students through that process is, where does your innovation really lie? If it's a IT project that really is geared towards improving food systems, if the IT is the novel component, then perhaps it fits there. If really the impact and the novel nature of your project is on food systems, you go there. Really where your innovation lies.
Any more questions? All right, all of our rules and requirements are online, and I highly encourage you to read through all of our different FAQ on the different sections of our on our website. But first, I just want to highlight 3 main rules that you need to remember. So the team lead must be a currently matriculated student at an eligible campus. So say I'm a Duke student and I want to apply to IT for Society. Unfortunately, that's not a possibility. I would need to find someone on one of those eligible campuses to become part of my team in order to apply and qualify for that category. Question?
Do you have to have a team, or can you apply alone?
There is no minimum or maximum to the number of team members you can have. So we've had people apply as a 1-person team, and we've had entire student group teams. So that is technically 200 students that are part of that group, right? But what we do caution against the 1-person teams is that when you present your bios and present to the judges that you have what it takes to carry out every aspect of the program, a lot of the times it's really difficult to do so as a 1-person team, right?
The question we put to the judges is, does this project have the people on their team to implement the project if they're given funding? So if you need somebody to help you with outreach, if you need somebody to help you with business plan, if you need somebody to develop the app, you got to have people with those skill sets on your team, but not at this stage.
Is that?
Are there any resources to help you connect with other people to get the right co-founders?
Absolutely, and I'll get into that a little bit in the following sections. I do want to say that not all of your team members need to be students. So we've had folks who have had some kind of advisor stand on their team or some colleague that they've come back to grad school with. So it's just the team lead that needs to be a currently matriculated student, if that makes sense.
Can you apply as a team lead and be an essential team member of someone else's team that's applying?
Yes. You can submit as many proposals or be as part of as many teams as you would like.
If my project targets another country, can the team members be from that country, so
Yes.
not Americans?
Absolutely. Okay. We encourage that. And lastly, I want to note that it's really important that the team lead is someone that you trust and is responsible, because they ultimately assuming that you win the contest, will have the ultimate say about how funds are distributed. So this is, and they'll be the main point of communication throughout the entire process. Does that make sense? All right. Also, the project needs to be student-led and student-initiated. So this can't be some side project of a nonprofit that you worked with over the summer that you want to get funding for. This needs to come from you, the student, and it can't be a faculty project that you're helping out with either. Any questions on that? A lot of PhD students have come to us asking if they can propose their research, and of course, we'd always like to hear more, but the general answer is yes, you can. All right, and lastly, I mentioned this already, 1 category per idea. So again, you can submit 5 different proposals to global health, but you can't submit your same 1 proposal to IT for society and global health.
That makes sense, right? Okay, great.
Great. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through the timeline for our entire year. Big Ideas works on a 2-part process. We have a pre-proposal stage and a full proposal stage. In between the pre-proposal stage and the full proposal stage, the judges review your proposal. The top scorers will move on and become finalists. Finalists will be offered the opportunity to be paired with a mentor, and then you work with your mentor together to put together that full proposal. Some key dates. You all mentioned November 16th. I'm really glad that you've already marked that down in your calendar. Just make sure that you know that this is noon Pacific time, and we do that so we can kind of troubleshoot and help you out if you have any trouble with your application. Before that, we have a ton of different events to help you support you develop your venture before the pre-proposal deadline. So importantly, for anyone who's interested in Hardware for Good, we have a Hardware for Good launch tomorrow. It's going to be a lunch at Jacob, so just make note of that. Max in the back is the point person on that event, so he can answer any questions you have on that. We have 1 more final online information session for folks who didn't make it to our first 2. We have writing workshops both on October 11th and the 31st. To the gentleman over there who asked about what are some networking opportunities we offer that you can develop and build some teams with, we have our Innovators at Cal, which is an event that we do with GSVC and Launch, and we try to gather all the aspiring innovators on the UC Berkeley campus together, put them in a room, have them pitch their idea, recruit team members, join team members. So if you need someone to develop an app for you or someone with some technical expertise that you don't currently have on your team, that's a great event for you to come and meet some other folks who are interested in this space.
And the other thing we do for team building is through our advising sessions that we hold one-on-one with students. We have a list of resources on campus, so if you're looking for students in the computer science field to help you develop your app, we have courses, we have clubs, we have areas you can go to and find those types of students. So we have a long list of different groups and organizations all around campus and beyond that we can sort of turn you in those directions to help you find team members that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And we also have our editing blitz, which is our last big editing and advising session that we hold before the deadline. We will send out a sign up for you, and you can come in and have us read over your pre-proposal, make sure you're hitting all the requirements. And then we also offer, over the course of the next few months, the practitioners in residence program. So we get folks who have backgrounds at Kiva, at Net Impact, who know IP law, who can advise you on whether you should be doing an enterprise or a nonprofit structure. All of those folks will be distributed. We'll let you know through a newsletter so you can sign up for one-on-one advising sessions, half-an-hour sessions with them and talk about your idea. These are really rare and really great opportunities, so we highly encourage you to take advantage of them. And likewise, too, right? Come in and talk to us as advisors, because if we know of your project and we have your project as the first thing on our minds, we can put you in touch with other interested students. We can put you in touch with potential mentors and advisors and, really top faculty from our network and really help you out with the development of your project over the course of the year. All right, and again, all of our events are available at Big Ideas on our workshops page on our website, so just check back there. We'll have an update for you on Innovators at Cal for any of you looking to network as well. Any questions about any of these events? All right. And then as I mentioned, after you move on through the pre-proposal round, you're chosen as a finalist. We have a full proposal deadline of March 8th. And before then, you have a 6 to 7 week mentorship with your mentor of your choice. And then after that, we have a whole bunch of really incredible, exciting award opportunities. We have pitch days, video contests, and we highly encourage all of you to take part in these because as soon as you kind of enter into our Big Ideas program as a pre-proposal applicant, you still have access to all of these resources, right? Just because you don't move on as a finalist doesn't mean that you don't have a great idea that could further be developed out. So we encourage you to continue to stay in contact with us. We'll still advise you. You can still access all of our resources, and please do stay in touch. So let's talk about what actually goes into your pre-proposal.
Well, one thing, just
Yeah.
to give you scope on last year's competition, Adrian mentioned that last year we got 266 applications. About 53 teams, I want to say, made it through to the final round, and 42 teams ended up winning awards. So it's a pretty good percentage as far as competitions go in terms of applying and getting through to the finals. But also there is, for the non-finalists, there is the judging feedback. So each time when you submit a proposal, judges will read that proposal. Over 8 to 12 judges will be reading your proposal, and we implore upon them to give you constructive feedback. So you're going to have that takeaway as well.
Question.
Are there people who don't make it to the finals and then like resubmit next competition?
The question was, are there people who don't make it through the finals and then resubmit their pre-proposals in the next year? Absolutely. And we highly encourage you to do so too.
And students who don't make it through to the finals of Big Ideas apply to other competitions and end up winning those competitions because they've got a step up on sort of the grant application process. They've already developed that idea, and now they're ready for other opportunities.
Any other questions? All right, so your pre-proposal consists of 4 key components: the problem statement, existing solutions, your proposed innovation, and your team bios. So this isn't a structure for what your pre-proposal needs to look like, but we do want you to hit all of these different key components. You can outline it however you want. You can add images. You can design it in whichever way you would like to. We just ask that you stay under 3 pages and 1,600 words, except for scaling up applicants. So are there any scaling up applicants in the room? 2? Okay, so you guys get an extra page in terms of your requirements to outline the past progress that you've made since graduating from Big Ideas. Also, these guys are great resources to talk to in terms of how they developed out their proposals and what they're doing now. You know, you should tap into them as a resource and get some insight on how to win Big Ideas as well. So all of this information is online, but essentially the problem statement is a description of the problem or need that your project will address, and really communicates your understanding of the problem in terms of statistics and kind of the human story behind whatever problem you're addressing. Existing solutions. This is probably the biggest pitfall that we see in most pre-proposal applications, is that they don't do their homework and really lay out what else is out there. They don't do their landscape research. And I want to point out that this isn't just identifying similar products to yours, right? It's really looking at the problem and seeing what other innovations have come into play, things that might look completely different from yours, but are really addressing that problem in a profound manner. Because you can look at these things and learn from them, learn out what they do better, and then figure out how your product will fit into that space and whether or not you really do have a market for whatever service or innovation you're developing. Does that make sense?
And that landscape research, that piece that Adrian is talking to, is probably the most commonly cited area of weakness by the judges who review Big Ideas proposals. Knowing how your intervention fits into the existing landscape, knowing how it builds upon or exceeds what's already there. That's a crucial element that you should be considering in that component.
And of course, you're going to talk about your proposed innovation, just give an overview of what your idea is, and then outline your team bio. So do you have the skills and the expertise necessary to carry out this project? I want to flag that at our writing workshops that we'll be holding in October, we're going to go through all of these sections more in depth. We're going to outline some best practices and common challenges that occur throughout these proposals, and as well as look at some of the ones that have been really successful in the past and ones that are a little bit had a harder time.
And when are those writing workshops? Anybody? Hand up?
The 11th. Yeah.
That was a t-shirt question.
All right, she gets a t-shirt. Okay, and let's talk about what your proposal will be judged on. So in this initial round, we really judge your proposal on innovation and creativity. As you can see, it takes up 40%. We'll also look for potential for impact, the viability, the category challenge, so how well does your project fit into the certain category that you're applying to, as well as just kind of the overall quality and the merit of your idea. Oh, the lady in the pink. And it's important to note that in this pre-proposal stage, we want you to focus on the creativity and the innovativeness of your idea. In the full proposal stage, we completely flip this on its head, and viability counts for 40%. So do you have what it takes to carry out this program? Have you thought about all the challenges that are going to come up? Do you have a realistic timeline and budget in order to do so? So those are things that we kind of focus on in the second half of the year, but we do want you to focus on the creativity in this portion.
Yeah, and this is intentionally done. We want to get students thinking outside the box. We want to get you thinking how creative, how innovative your plans can be. We also want to level the playing field between all types of different projects. We don't want to know how much you've achieved so far. We just want to know at this stage, at the preliminary stage, the pre-proposal stage, how innovative, how clever is your idea. And then in that final round, we can work with those creative, innovative ideas and help you think more about sustainability, viability, and impact.
And I just want to note that our pre-proposal components have changed over the years. We used to ask teams to outline a timeline and budget in the pre-proposal stage, but we've realized over the course of the years that when teams started to do this, they got so fixated on their implementation plans and their budgets that it was really hard for them to adjust their innovation and their project in the full proposal round into something that probably made more sense. So focus on the ideation stage, make sure that you really understand the problem, that you understand where your innovation fills in terms of the landscape, and then you'll have a strong pre-proposal. Question? Yeah, so the question was, can I talk about the category challenge? So I highly recommend you to go to each category page to read about the specific challenge. If you grab some of the handouts of the categories in the back, they'll have them. But essentially, this question is asking you, how well do you fit into the category as outlined by the description? And then for scaling up teams, it's what kind of progress have you made over the course of the past year or more than 1 year? All right. So I promised I would wrap up by 6:45, and I'm a little bit over time, but please reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll open this up for Q&A now, and then open it up for advising too. Does anyone have any questions? No? So you'll all have perfect pre-proposals by tomorrow.
How many of you are thinking, like, I am 100% applying to big ideas? Just show of hands.
Well, come to Innovators at Cal and kind of meet other folks if you want to build out your teams or figure out your innovation a little bit more. And come into advising too.
In the flyer, it mentions an idea generation dinner.
Yeah.
When was that?
So we've actually rolled in our idea generation dinner into our Innovators at Cal. So we're building that out into the same event. We thought that the core of the idea generation dinner was for students to pitch their ideas and recruit team members and get feedback on their ideas. And it made more sense to kind of integrate that into the larger UC Berkeley landscape.
And there is another event we should mention, which is, I believe it's October 25th, and it's going to be next door at Sutar Jadai Hall, and Big Ideas is participating. It's the Berkeley Entrepreneurs Expo. So all organizations from across Berkeley, the Foundry, Skydeck, QB3, all of these entrepreneurial organizations will have a presence there. You'll have innovators and entrepreneurs and VCs as well, all coming to just sort of network, share, engage, and learn. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it's October 25th.
It's sometime during that week.
For the Hardware for Good design luncheon, if we can't go to that, is that also streamed online, or is there another alternative?
We talked about streaming it online, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to do so. But any questions you have about the category, you can approach one of us, and we'll be able to outline everything you need to know and recap the event for you too.
And one of the very cool aspects of that category, so this is a new category that we implemented just this year with Autodesk Foundation support. the teams that make it to the final round in the Hardware for Good category are going to get Makers Passes at the Jacobs Institute. So you'll be able to go in there, use their 3D prototyping equipment in their workspaces as well.
And Citrus too.
Yeah.
Yep.
By using that facility, would Cal own any?
So that's a really important question. It was an intellectual property question. So all of Big Ideas awards are prizes. They're not grants contingent upon you implementing this project. This is a prize for developing a really innovative and compelling pre-proposal and full proposal over the course of the year. And even by using these facilities, there shouldn't be any IP concerns.
Now, as far as what? No, we've gone through the Office of Risk. We've talked to IP. So this is considered an extracurricular activity. It's a prize for the development of the idea, not for the project itself. And therefore, it is defined as extracurricular. And unless you are using other space on campus through your faculty advisors or another office space on campus, it is through Big Ideas' eyes, at least, it's not, there's no IP infringement or anything like that.
Hi, I'm wondering about the trajectory of a project idea. Could it be a summer project, or does it have to be forever, or for the next year, or what?
So that the trajectory is kind of open-ended. It's up to you and what you envision ultimately for the project. But this is more relevant to the full proposal requirements. When we asked you to develop out an implementation plan, a timeline, and a budget, that's for the course of 1 year. So we're asking for that plan from June 2017 to June 2018. And then I think with that, you can allude to that in your pre-proposal, right? Be realistic about what you are able to achieve over the course of the year, but also outline what your ultimate goal is for this project.
Well, you have total flexibility in determining your own project timeline. And again, Adrian mentioned that these are awards for the development of the idea. So we've had students who have won the award, postpone their project for a year, and then come back to sort of launch it.
In the back.
Thinking about geographies, is it okay to have in mind like non-US centric?
Absolutely.
Now we had how many different countries represented across the Big Ideas?
At least 30 from last year. Different countries were, and this is projects that we're planning to implement in those countries. All right, if we don't have any more questions, then we'll open it up for advising. We can either work off that worksheet, and if there aren't too many signups, then feel free to just kind of track us, one of us down on these Big Ideas t-shirts, and we'll be able to talk to you about your idea.
And if you have a very quick question, you can just come see me, and I'll take the 30-second question.
Thank you all for coming. Oh, it's through these doors and then to the left.